all their students. And they were looking at me all weird as I'm like scoping things out all over the place.
All right, we are live. This is our winners of the Hunt for the Key.
Hey.
Introduce yourselves.
David. Been doing this since day one, since the first one.
Christmas.
We've been close a few times. We were for the green one.
The last three.
Yes. Yeah, the last three. We were right there. I mean, we were feet away from the Quail Hollow one, the golf course. We were feet away from them when they found it. So
that's what they were saying. They were like, we felt bad.
Yeah.
And I knew it was Rachel because she had already said, oh my God, we were right there. Yeah. So you've been so close. And what's your name?
Amanda.
Amanda.
And I'm Rachel.
And Rachel. And so you guys have been working as a team this whole time?
Yeah. We have.
From day one?
Yep.
Day one.
Yeah, I saw that she had commented on something you had posted, and I was like, what? And then she messaged me and was like, are you doing that? And I was like, yes. Yeah. And she was like, well, let's team up. I was like, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, these aren't easy sometimes to do by yourself. You need people that can go different places.
Divide and conquer.
It was especially this time.
This time,
there were things that they had thought about that I hadn't thought about, and so it's nice to have somebody else to be able to play off of because you think of different things that.
Do you guys think any of you would have found it by yourselves, or did it really take the whole team?
No, I think the whole team.
Yeah. No,
did it even take? Is it grandma and grandpa? Mom and dad.
Mom and dad.
Yeah. Did it even take mom and dad helping from afar?
They did not here 20 minutes ago.
They're clueless on what's going on.
Okay, got it. So when we went into it, obviously we all knew this one was going to be a little different, but none of you knew anything that was going to be just like everyone else. The cool part was everyone was clueless. They just knew it wasn't going to be riddles like normal. That it was going to be more of
it was going to be long.
It was long. Yeah.
Well, and every time I thought I had something, I was wrong.
Yep.
And then it became really frustrating. I was like, oh my gosh,
I was in the same boat.
I don't know what I'm even going to do. Like, I'd come up with something and I'd text one of them and be like, does this even work?
Yeah.
And just like constantly feeling like I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah,
until just in the last couple days when it really started to come together.
Yeah.
And then it was a lot easier to go, okay, there's this and this and this. But for the first like 3 or 4 days, I was just like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Like I'd read it and go, this is just gibberish and I don't even know what to think. And I'm done.
we made the connection on the words very quick. That was easy. It was the numbers that threw us for like 5 days. And we're just like, we have no connection between the numbers and the words. And so that was our hard part, was trying to figure out where the numbers come into play.
The only thing that we saw from day one was the letters were the same length as the cipher of numbers right below it. So I knew that there was a 1-to-1 of the numbers to letters in each cipher, but
so question
how you
with that,
them.
Because there's like doubles, right? So there's doubles of things. And we started when we were looking at the numbers. And Amanda and I both had noticed that on the clues, when you gave them online, it said May 6th, and then it said May 6th, and then May 8th, May 8th. And then I was like, so are we what's the double there? So then I'm like, are we supposed to cross out double letters or double numbers? And then I was like, no, that has nothing, that doesn't make any sense.
Was it a rotating cipher?
A few people were like confused with the whole double things, and they were looking for any double words, anything like that, which had nothing to do with it as you found out in the long run. It just happened to be a glitch in the system, and it wasn't putting my clues out at noon. Which when was it you that said I'm late?
Yeah.
And you're like, you're late.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I'm at work, and I'm like, oh
no.
Like, so I'm trying to figure out what's going on and why I didn't come out, and I didn't have the clue with me at work, so I'm calling people like my tech guy to help me out, like. And he was the one that fixed it both times. Like
so
twice,
with the dates being
was having problems.
Similar, was that something that you did to get us to be like, you got to double back?
No.
Or that just happened?
It just
that
happened
is
to be
so
a glitch
weird.
in the whole system.
Weird, because we noticed even the wording. Normally you just say day 1 clue, day 2 clue. And this time it was like day 1 clue, clue number 2, 3 clue. There was no day, and it was like, okay, there's something going on there. Okay.
That was just because everything was about numbers. And so I wanted people just to overthink everything. Which worked really well.
It works every time.
The ciphers is what threw me off. Is like the numbers, we knew there was a 1-to-1 correlation between them all, but then they were spaced out, like
Spaces
3 letters,
between
4
them.
letters, 6 letters, 9 letters, like 15 letters. There was really
Yeah.
long ones, like, what's a 15-letter word using these? So I tried to
Mhm.
rejumble them up and scrabble them.
Yeah.
If you see my browser history, it's pretty interesting. Patty Harris, trying to figure out who that person was.
Talking about I killed
Murdering
this and
people,
murdered
yeah.
this and
I
Yeah.
kept waiting for the police to show up at my
Right.
door during this
Oh.
whole thing, thinking like, this guy's a murderer. Like, what's
Right.
going on?
yeah,
But
Yeah.
yeah.
So
was
it was,
like, it was interesting. No one showed up, which was good.
and then your Facebook clues. Those just kept
Mhm.
adding to it. Like, okay, yes, we understand. That's day 1, day clue. Okay, yes, we get that. What does it have anything to do with anything?
Yeah.
No.
So we couldn't figure out the connection to them for a really long time.
And then once we did find the connection, or at least think that, okay, we understand that your like day 1 clue went with the first scavenger hunt and so on and so forth. So then we're like, okay, we need to just go to those places, and you're probably hiding some sort of physical clue that we need to go find, and it'll have something written on it, and we'll read it and get more clues. And then we're like, there's nothing here. You went to like 3
I
or
went
4
to
different
Kleiner,
spots.
I went to
Yeah.
Julia Davis.
All the old
I went
previous
to
hunts.
Edwards,
Oh,
and I was
she's
like,
on the
"There's
phone with
no
me,
way."
like,
and
walking
then the next
around.
morning, I got up super early because then after we were like, "Well, there's nothing here," and it was at night, and you had said, "Oh, it's sundown, nobody's found it." So then we started thinking, well, maybe it goes there and
Yeah.
it moves
Yeah.
like to
Yeah.
that same place.
We-
After I had already weirded out, like I've weirded out a lot.
A lot of it.
I
I'd be on the phone while she did some of
Security
these.
guard.
So, okay, so I'm at Edwards, and I have my kids with me, and we're searching around, and I keep walking and looking through the archway. I'm like, well, maybe it's the other archway, and I'm looking all over the place, and this security guard is sitting over on a bench, and he's in all black and has a black hat, and I can't read what it says from far away, but there's white writing on it, and he has the black mask on, so all I can see is like this much of him from super far away, and then I was like, maybe that's him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
she
I'm
calls
supposed
her.
to go
Oh,
ask
the murderer.
Are you
She's
the
like-
bone collector? And can I
Yeah.
have this necklace? And then I'm on the phone with Dave, and I'm like, this guy, like, he's kind of sketching me out though. Like, he's
Yeah.
watching what I'm doing, and he's like, well, if you're gonna go talk to him, stay on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as I'm walking over, I was like, oh, his hat says security. I don't think he's anything sketchy. And he started
We thought maybe you were
laughing.
dressing up and hanging out at each
Yeah.
location
Yeah,
and giving
well,
out
and I was like,
clues.
oh,
Okay. Yeah.
When
And
I,
so I
when I
asked
set
him,
this up, I set it
have
up
you
that way
seen
originally,
anybody?
where you
Oh,
had
really?
to actually find someone.
Oh, funny.
But then I didn't know if I could trust. We've got
Right.
a piece of paper on the top up there. Yes. But then I was like, who do I know?
Right.
And if I do that, are these people going to start going to odd places that are nothing to do
Right.
with this
Yeah.
and start talking to strangers?
Yeah.
Well, I
And will
asked
people
him,
be
have
too
you been
nervous to do that?
I said,
too?
have you
Like,
seen anybody? Because I thought maybe, if there was something there, maybe he saw somebody pick it up. And he goes,
Nope.
like for like a geocache? And I said, well, I mean, sort of, but it's not, you wouldn't put it back. And he goes, nope, I haven't seen anything. And I said, okay. And I turned and started walking away. And then I was like, wait, how long have you been sitting here? And I thought, well, maybe they came up for it. And he goes, like 3 hours. And I was like, okay, never mind. And we got in the car and left.
That's all he does is sit there on that bench?
Apparently.
Apparently. But so
Sounds like a
then,
great job.
so then we get in the car and turn and look, and he's gone. So then my kids are convinced that he's in on it. And because I didn't specifically say, are you the bone collector? Do you have it? They're like, he took it and he's
Yeah.
gone. And I'm like, crap. So then I was like, well, maybe it is going to be at the next place. So I tell them, I'm going to go to the golf course. I'm going to get there super early. And
Yeah.
I did. I got there at 7, like
She
6:30,
texted us at 7
o'clock in the
a.m.
morning.
and I'm like, dang, she got a head start.
And I'm sitting there and I'm looking around and there's nobody.
So
And
at
I
this
get out
point, you
and I
know the
walk
clue's
up.
coming out for the golf course that
yeah,
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
knew
we
because we
figured it
found
out.
the pattern.
We didn't know
So,
where. We were going to the exact location of
Right.
each
Yeah.
old clue.
Yeah, well,
So-
and even so it was the BSU clue that you gave that Josie character, whatnot. And we saw that she
Kensler.
was, Kensler, and we saw that she was a prisoner at the penitentiary.
The
But
first
we-
woman prisoner
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
old
yeah.
pit.
Mhm.
But
For
we,
murder.
Yeah, and we started talking, and we're like, it can't be at the penitentiary because
Did
they have
anyone
that
else
place.
catch that? Like you guys out there that are watching, say hi and like chime in. I
yeah,
see
by the
there's
way,
3
I
of
found
you.
it at the old penitentiary.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In case you were wondering.
Yeah, in case we missed that. But
We didn't
we
show that part
we
yet.
saw that clue, and we thought that it wouldn't be there
Yeah.
because they have that place pretty locked down. Like they don't really want you wandering
Yeah,
around over
you
there.
can't
And
get
so we're
in.
like,
Okay,
there's no
so-
way.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I don't know if I've ever told you guys this story, but I was telling Rodney about this today when I was talking to him. So I had gone with a friend. We went out to watch a meteor shower out there. And we were just parked in the gravel parking lot, not anywhere that we shouldn't be. I'm sitting on the hood of the car. And all of a sudden we hear this like heavy breathing and gravel moving. And we're like, "Whoa," and turn and look. And here comes this big freaking security dude, like hoofing his way up. That he had ran from the little shack all the way up the road. And he's coming up and he's like, and I said, are we not supposed to be? And he's like, just give me a second. And I was like, okay. And he gets up there and he goes, now, you know, this is the old pen. Like, yeah, we know. And he goes, well, you know, you can't just be here. And I said, we can't just be here. Like, we're not on the property. We're just sitting here. We're just watching the meteor shower. And he goes, no, you can't be here. This is private property. And I said, oh, okay. And he goes, do you see that catwalk up there? That one. I said, yeah. He goes, if you climb up on there and that breaks, you're responsible for repairing that and your ER bill to get you. And he said, I'm like,
Oh, geez.
we weren't going to climb up there, but thank you. And he's like, he goes, well, I'm just telling you, it's private property and you could get evicted. And I said, oh, we'll leave. And he's like, well, I didn't kept going into these long stories. And I finally said, it's okay. We'll leave. We're just turn around and we'll go. And he's like, well, you see that place right over there? That's a working women's correctional facility. You stay away from there. If you pull in their parking lot, they're going to think you're in there for something and they're going to search you and they're going to search your car. And he's like, this is the order. He says, they're going to look for sex toys and drugs and weapons. And I'm like, who do you think I am? Like,
He just has a look.
so I've learned you can't be at the old pen
Yeah.
like in the evening or when it's getting dark. So it's like there's no way it's going to be over there because there's super tight security. Yeah, I was wrong.
Sarah's on.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Sarah.
Sarah, had you figured anything out and just not gotten there all the way by the time this was solved today?
Yeah, I don't think we got the number part until the golf course one.
Yeah.
So that's when it's
Yesterday.
really fell
Mhm.
together.
Well, you said
Yeah.
that there's a big red barn,
Yeah.
and the neighborhood watch was right before that on Facebook. So I said, you know what? I know there's some neighborhood watch signs as soon as you go into the neighborhoods at the back end of the golf course. And I saw them on Google Street View, and I was like, I'm just gonna take a quick little drive over there and just see. As I'm driving up there, I pass a big red barn. I stop, look at it.
Thanks, Corey. Sorry.
Private-
Don't forget you owe us money.
Yep.
Yeah,
Hey,
sorry,
that's
Corey.
right. We're holding you to it.
Whoa,
So-
Corey was lost.
Wow.
Wow, shocker.
So yeah, we drove past the red barn. I looked at it and I said, okay, that says private property. Kept going, searched all over. There's no other red barn. So I came back. I'm staring at the front of it. I parked in front of it. I got out, walked in front of it. There's nothing in front of the big red barn. I said, okay, the other side of the red barn is the golf course. Well, you can't really get in there unless you pay. So then I'm like, I don't want to go. It says private property. And I see something that says like bird sanctuary office. Whatever. Walk down there, talk to ladies down there. They were clueless. They had no idea.
I
what
think
was going
Corey
on.
went there too.
And
And
everybody
Corey
always
sent me a
asks
message
wherever
about
you
it.
go, they're like, so is this something we should know about?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
would somebody here know?
And they
we
were-
can, I'm like,
they
no,
were
you
lost.
can't
Yeah.
help. Like,
Yeah.
So then I'm looking for numbers. I'm on the phone with Rachel, and I'm like, only thing it says here is 1910 on the top of it, and the address is 4650. That's it. And then hole 11 is on the backside of it. So those are the only numbers. So then I finally looked, and I was like, I looked at my piece of paper that I had. I had this all on a Google sheet, and I looked at it, and I
Yeah,
said,
show him your Google sheet. Like,
oh,
look at this
He
Google
gets
sheet that he
very
has.
analytical with things.
Corey, you got some competition. That's something Corey would do too.
it's maybe hard to
That's
read.
awesome.
But so I looked on it, and I typed
That's
in.
how you win, right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I typed in 1910 into that. We knew that each line represented a
Mhm.
day. And since I slaughtered in late that year, and I was like, year, 1910. Okay, that's a year. So I typed it in and I typed in the letters and it says lady. And I was like, Rachel, it says lady. It says lady. And then so she had pictures of the first one of the Hattie Harris.
Mhm.
Have you taken a picture of the actual
She
sign?
took me
Yeah.
all of them.
Yeah.
Of
all of
everything.
them.
'Cause
She-
I'm like, whatever
like,
it is,
yeah.
we're getting it.
Yeah.
You should see the text. I have probably 700 pictures from her. She took pictures of everything because I wasn't able to
You
go
should
out.
see the pictures in my phone from Julie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm on the computer doing this, and she's out taking pictures, and I'm trying to put them together and feed them all together. And so I looked back through the pictures, and I said, "Hey, the year on the very first one, it says 1891, and it says IC." I
Yeah.
was like, "Okay, I think
And
we're
the
on
sign read the exact
Yeah.
words of the
exact grow,
Yeah.
elected
It
and
was
grow."
word
Yeah.
for word what the
T.
clue
Hattie
was.
Harris. I was like, "Okay, I think we have something. We think
Yeah.
it was years."
And somebody
So-
else had that picture. They posted that
Yeah,
pretty
Jeff.
early on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeff, I don't think you're on here, but
And
when
Jeff
we
had
watched this
also
back,
posted something else, and I was
I
like,
thought he was so onto it
for a
early
minute, I
on.
thought that
Yeah.
you had him helping, and
I,
like he
yeah,
was
we
giving
thought
us
so
hints.
too. Yeah,
Because
like,
I was like,
why would he
how
be
does he
giving
know
hints?
these things?
Yeah, and I'm like,
When
This
he
is
posted
interesting.
that sign,
Mhm.
I was like, oh, he's on me.
Mhm.
Right already. And I was
Yeah.
surprised because it was like day
It was
one.
early, yeah.
yeah.
It was early.
And I was like, dang, he's got it down already.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And I thought this is going to be solved fast. And he knows that
Yep.
everything's just a line by line clue.
Yeah.
But then he fell off the face of the earth and didn't post anything again. And I don't know what happened.
Well, I think
Can't
it was
wait
a
to see
matter
him
of
in-
figuring out how did that correlate to this.
exactly. There was a
Because
couple that we
until
were
you
lost
figure
on.
out exactly the numbers and how that works with the sentence, and knowing that, okay, so you have to take your number and your number lines up with your
Yeah.
letter,
Yeah.
and that's what gives you your words for how you're getting your actual clue for where you need to go.
Yeah.
Until we
Yeah.
had that, and then it was like, crap, we got to figure this out.
Well, we thought it was
And it
years.
was crazy.
Yeah.
The first two were
Yeah.
years that we figured out, and they weren't like in order. So we got IC, and then a couple lines later, like we have lady, and we're like, okay, we're looking for years. There's no years at Edwards. Like there's
Mhm.
so we're searching everywhere. So she went to BSU, and I'm like, is there any years or like 4-digit numbers? She took pictures of everything. I mean,
The lever
Literally
lever one, was it you that found the numbers on the back
Mhm.
with
yes,
the
Yeah.
lever? Like that was
the journey. Yeah, I was
So-
like,
Yeah.
on the back
So
of
I
the
get over there
of
and
the
I
bridge.
start at the one by the water. So at Kleiner Park,
Well,
there's
you went
3
there
of those.
the
big-
day before
Yeah.
Mhm.
to the Raywood Ash.
And we
Right.
couldn't
Corey,
find
I'm
it.
very disappointed in you that you didn't figure out the second one. Mister, I found that in 45
Right.
minutes.
Yeah,
For real,
seriously.
I'll
So-
pay up, but you have to,
You have to find it first.
Yeah,
mean that?
that? You want that?
So I go over there and I'm looking, and he's like, Journey. He's like, what is Journey, like the band, like rock? And then we're like,
Yep.
the Heroes rock. Like, so I'm like, well, I'll go look at that. And there's nothing there. Like, it's
Amphitheater.
just names. There's nothing. And so then he's like, well, maybe the amphitheater.
Because you
And
said
as
bridge,
I'm
I'm like,
looking at all
maybe
these
like a bridge on a
pictures,
guitar.
Yeah.
I'm like maybe it's in the amphitheater with
there's
rock.
a thing that talks about Julius Kleiner and like his life and history and all of these things. And it has a little TV screen, and I push a button and it starts like dee, and David goes, what is that? And I was like, it's a video, I'm gonna watch it. And he's like, okay. So we're listening. And I hear something, and he says, Journey. And I turn and look over, and I see the big, like, he's like, well, what's the truck lever? And I'm like a gear shifter. And so then we're like, oh, that's on the thing. So I run over and I'm reading. He's like, isn't there a sign? I
And
think I
right in front
remember
it says
seeing a
the
sign that
Journey.
says
Yeah.
Journey,
Talks about
and
that
it does. And I'm like, oh my God,
sculpture being
that's
called
it.
the Journey.
And then there's nothing. And it's just, and I'm like,
It
what
says
is it?
early 1900s. And
I
you're like,
walked
Yeah,
back
no
and
specifics.
forth.
There's no letters
Yeah,
on
there's
that
no
one.
specifics.
And that's why I had to use the letters off of the
So
actual
yeah, so
sculpture.
on the actual sculpture that's in the labyrinth.
off the bridge.
Because
Yeah.
right, and so there's 3 of them. The one by the amphitheater has some dates on it, but doesn't have the truck lever thing. The one by the water didn't have either of them. Only the one in the labyrinth actually had the one that had all these different dates.
Yeah.
And then on the backside had one, and I'm talking to David and I'm reading it, and I walked around and I'm like, it's so worn. That I'm like,
oh,
I can't
Yeah.
even read this. And I'm looking
You
at it
have to
like,
be paying attention.
what
to
is
know
this?
it's
And I'm
there.
like trying to scrape some of the old off of it to read it. And then I was
And
like,
it just says truck
and
lever.
it's like, and I was like, wait, these numbers, and I turned it, like, it says like 10 and an 1/8 and 20 and 3/8. Why do we need 8s?
Yeah,
Like, what is that? And then I look over and it says truck lever, and I was like, oh my God. And he's like, okay, can you just read me the numbers? And I'm like, I can't see them.
yeah.
And it took forever to figure out that it said 6/18, 6/18.
Yeah.
We were looking for
Twice.
years. We
Yeah,
looked for
right,
years
yeah.
because we thought the year was 4 letters.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that one was rough.
That
Yeah.
one was tough. So that one spelled
That one was bad, but then you get to
Inside.
Boise State.
Yeah.
Oh, Boise State was
You should have heard us on the phone. I'm like, David, there is no 4. And he's like, there has to be a 4. So I'm like, there is no 4. And he's like, there has
So-
to be a 4. And I'm like, there's the one right here and it says gate 4 or whatever it was. And I'm like, it's a loading dock.
Yeah.
What,
So-
and it says
for
Stucco Sky Center. What? There's nothing to read on the wall. What do you want me to say?
like
I'm like,
there's something on the wall. There's numbers on the wall.
Yeah,
Give me
has to
numbers on
be.
the wall.
And the clue says, well, if you guys all have read it probably a million times, they say begin
With
with 4 and let them run. And
let
let
them read the writing on
and
the
let
wall.
them read the writing on the wall. Yeah, you know it by heart. now.
Yeah, we've
Oh,
only
we know.
studied it for 6 days, so you know.
Well, you took your fiance, so her fiance is one of my best friends.
And he's sitting in the car and he's like, what is the problem? What are you guys even doing? And I'm like, just help me find this. And he's just like,
He was getting
whatever, I
pretty
just want
upset.
dinner.
He's like,
Get out
take
of
me
here."
home. I want
At one
food.
point, after like 2 hours, when I'd been everywhere taking pictures, he tells Tate, he's like, play with your own girlfriend. I'm going home to eat. Like, we're trying to figure it out. It was just
So who
Crazy.
figured out the 4 part? Like
So I figured out. I
once it
told her
finally came
I
to
said,
like,
I go,
oh my
this is
god,
the
we got
only
a
thing,
4 at
like,
the beginning.
the pictures. I literally was on the Google Drive or Google Street
Mm.
View, and I was
Yeah.
looking at the numbers up there. and I
looking
was
at the
like,
Boise
Yeah.
State banners with players on them. They had numbers and some weren't wearing blue. So
Yes.
the thing, yeah.
So I looked at him. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, school teacher. Okay, it's at BSU. It was all about blue. So I'm looking at Cesar Chavez. I know that's where it was, the 2C. So
Yeah,
I went
the
to Cesar
2C.
Chavez on the Street View, and I started looking around and see what big numbers I could see for all to see. I'm like, scoreboard,
Yeah, and it talked about it being
the
big
banners.
on
Yeah,
the
I'm like,
wall.
it's got to be
Yeah.
something huge. So I looked, and it says one team, and it says 19 championships. It says
Yeah, so it says
19
one
conferences.
team, one city, one goal.
Yeah,
And then it said 19 conference
conferences.
appearances. And then it said
19
19
bowl,
something.
Yeah.
19 bowls. And then it said 3
Fiesta Bowl
Fiesta Bowl
championships.
championships.
Mhm.
And so we had those numbers. but
We
then
had
it was
just
like,
So
those.
Corey, you
4.
needed the 4 out of this paper clue, and
Yeah.
then
Right.
the 1 that was written out,
So Dave's like,
and
well, there's
then the
4
19,
banners.
19, and 3.
Yeah,
And then
there was-
when
So
we
you had
were
to have
looking
all
at
those
it,
numbers.
if you didn't have just from the banners, taking the numbers from the banners, it
It's
spelled
spelled
out
key bars.
he bars. And I was like, what the hell is he bars? Like, that's whatever. And then when I was looking at it today, I text him and I was like, it says begin with 4. And the 4 is the T. I'm like, it's the bars. And then I was like, I can see inside the bars of lady. And then I'm like, start Googling that. And it starts pulling up like the
Yeah.
Statue of Liberty play. And I'm like, that's not what I want. Like, who
Oh,
was
we forgot,
arrested that
Yeah.
gives me this? Like,
Yeah.
it's bars
Edwards.
of something.
Edwards was 21. That was the
Yeah.
number
Yep.
that you get out of Edwards. You made references to Edwards multiple times.
Mhm.
Neighborhood Watch, movie theaters. An ace and a king is 21, and you
Yeah.
said that about
And
the
then
last
he was
one.
barely of age.
He was
of age.
barely of age. Yeah, that was the original clue
Yeah,
to get 21 out of that.
yeah. So we
I
knew
was trying to
21
make
says
Edwards
of.
you not even have to go there. That was kind of I was trying to make it
Gotcha.
the easiest one, so it was just
Yeah.
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 So-
Unfortunately, with Edwards, we still weren't on to the numbers, so
Yeah.
we were still,
Right.
yeah,
Searching.
yeah.
So then she had. I mean, we had IC inside the bars of, and she's like, we had probably 40 pictures of Julia Davis.
I have more
She
than
took
that
one of
in my
every single
phone.
plaque in Julia Davis.
I literally okay. So we thought
So you knew that was
blueberries-
coming next.
right,
Yes.
and we
You knew
thought
that.
the
She went there the
blueberries
night
was the
before.
fountains. So I went the night before, and there are little plaques all over
Around
around
the
the
blue
fountains, on the little pillar things,
Everywhere.
inside where the gazebo is, inside there.
Every room,
the spot- yeah.
everything has a plaque.
And I'm just like taking pictures of everything, and people
I
are
got them
like,
all.
"What is she doing?"
We were ready.
And I'm like,
We're like, as soon as it comes out, we've got all
the
the
one
pictures.
thing
We're
I
ready.
didn't
Yeah.
do, I was like, we already have the picture from when Corey found the one in the park of the what is it, the train depot that's on that
on
one. I
the
was like,
orange.
so we already have that, and it has the year on it. So if that's what we need, it's already there. And so when I got home last night, I was like, it's fine. I won't worry about those. And then this morning I woke up and I went, what if it's one of the other ones? So I text them, and it's like 6:30, 7
Yeah.
o'clock in the morning again. And I was like, I'm gonna go down early so I can be there so that when they give the clue, and I had already been studying the names on all of these plaques so I could be
Oh.
ready. And if
Corin,
it
this
wasn't
sounds
on there,
familiar.
Yep.
then
This is something you would.
I would be
he
ready
was like the early bird.
and
Normally.
know, okay, I need to check one of these other things.
Oh, you forgot about Mike
And-
Tyson.
Yeah.
She said
we're
Mike
like,
Tyson
Mike
lost
Tyson lost
in
in
1990.
1990.
She's like,
I'm like,
Big
is that for
Mike
the Mike?
fell hard.
Oh yeah.
Mike Tyson
Yeah.
lost in
Yeah.
1990. That's got to be a clue.
And
Yeah.
that's in the park. I
Yeah.
saw
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
But there was not enough numbers for me to work with that one.
Right.
No.
Nothing,
And
man.
so-
I had searched that entire park for 9 letters.
Well, so I had
That's
my
what I
daughter
needed.
getting ready today, and I tell her, I'm like, we're getting down there early. And she goes, okay. And at like 11:15, I was like, oh, I need to save this so I can get back into the clues really easy when I get down there. And I pulled it up, and the clue was posted, and I was like, what the crap? It's early. And I start reading it. I was like, I gotta go. I gotta get there. Somebody's gonna beat me. I literally went 80 miles an hour all the way to Julian
Yep.
Davis to
Took all
find the
Put
right
everyone's life in her hands.
And I'm
Yes.
calling them, and I'm like, I'm going to get it. I hope nobody's there before me. It's gonna be fine. We're gonna get
She
there.
asked me, if it's not there, where's this? Where's the Chinese gardens? I'm like,
And Sarah's out there texting me, I know where it's at. I'm stuck at work. She's all crying.
Oh.
Oh
So-
yeah, that was crazy.
I
so
don't
you
think
got,
she's on
she,
it right now.
she figured
Not
out
Sarah
the,
Collins.
it was on one of the posts. The
Mhm.
last one was on a post that you had to go 3 steps back
Yeah.
from the last
Yeah.
post.
Yeah.
And you found the Chinese garden.
That's how you got to drive to win. That's right, Corey. That is how you got to drive to win.
So she found it, and she says it says blue, but the numbers, the 1778, if you followed them in order like all the other ones, it didn't spell out Bluebeard.
Mhm.
It was a little off, and I don't know if that was on purpose or not.
No.
So if you actually take and you follow like the first 90733 was in the picture on the car,
On the car.
And that gets you
And then
blue B.
that gets you
Yeah.
blue B, but then 1778 wasn't in order. If you did the actual 1778, it
It
spells
comes out eart.
yeah,
EIRT.
EIRT.
And I
It
was like,
wasn't-
blue beard? What is that?
And then
I started
she's
Googling
like, wait a
and
minute,
stuff
it says
again.
beard. It's in the photo. It's got to be beard, Bluebeard. I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't spell out the way it's supposed to. So,
Yeah.
but then
That
if
one
you
was
if you
crazy.
skip around a few letters, you can make it say Bluebeard. And we're like,
Mhm.
maybe Rodney was drinking when he did
I
it.
probably was.
Well, I started Googling.
I even looked back on it
And I
and thought
started
I added them
Googling
up to make
Lady
sure the next day
Blue
that they worked.
BE, and I got that far, and it automatically populated Lady Bluebeard serial killer, and I was like, oh, that's it. It has to be.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
click on it, and it's some lady from Indiana, and I'm like, that's not local. What am I gonna do? So then I called him. I was like, I'm going to the pen. He goes, is it there? I was like, I think so. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
because
at
we
that
made the
point,
connection to the
my
penitentiary
thought was,
before.
Yeah.
maybe even though it said she was in Indiana, maybe she had spent time in prison here, but she hadn't. She like took off apparently, and they believe she died at some point, but there's no confirmation. So I was like, well, it's not her. And I just started searching, and I thought for sure, because I keep seeing people there. There's a bunch of like kids there, and I was like, oh, there's gonna be so many people. And I'm starting to look around, and I see in the window at the gift shop, there's this like a little newspaper article about the Idaho Lady Bluebeard that talking about how after she was released, what her experience was like. And so I was like, oh, it's got to be over here. And so I start walking around in the women's facility area because that's the only area that's open to the public. So to go inside, you have to actually pay to get in. So when you posted that picture that says warning guard dog, to be able to get to where you can be in the presence of that, you have to actually pay to go inside. So I was like, well, it's not going to be in there. And I was searching everywhere, and I'm looking around, and it says, so then I was like, this has to say, I can see inside the
See,
bars
yeah.
of Lady
Yeah.
Bluebird. I was like, oh, what is that? Like, it's got to be something. And so then I'm looking at this and go, maybe it's cell, like it's got to be inside her cell. I walked for 2 hours searching this
Mhm.
place because I was inside the women's facility area. I was outside walking around it. I was walking around the big wall outside. I went up into the old rose garden up top. I was over into the main shop, and I asked, was there a jailer or a inmate here at some point that was known as Big Mike? Because then I thought maybe I can figure out what the last word is. And
Yeah.
the guy goes,
We were trying to jump a
not
clue.
that I know of. And I was like, okay. And he looked at me kind of funny, and I said, I'm doing a scavenger hunt, and all the clues bring me here. And he's like, oh yeah, I don't know. I said, okay, thanks. And I walked out. And then I came back and was like, do you have a restroom I can use? And inside the bathroom area, there's this like stand. And I walked in and went to the bathroom. When I came out, I looked over and they have this whole little thing set up with her picture and this giant article printed out from the paper. And it says Idaho Lady Bluebeard. And I was like, it's here. It has to be here. And so then I'm searching all over that and taking pictures of all these things as all these little elementary school kids are coming in. So then their teacher comes in thinking I'm being some crazy person in there with all these kids. And I had to like book it out of there so that she wasn't concerned. And I'm still walking around. And I'm walking, and I walked past where it was at least 4 times. But every time I'd look at this big metal gate, and I'm looking around, and like, I don't even see it. I don't know where else it could be. Like, I've looked in every hole I can find. I've looked at everything. And I'd go back to the clues, and it just so happened I'd be reading that as I would walk right past it every single time. And so then I go in again, and I was like, can you tell me which cell she was in? And he goes,
This is the big gate that she was.
I don't know if we
walking
know
past.
exactly. Like, we kind of have an idea. We think it was a north side because when she escaped, and I was like, oh, she escaped at some point, so maybe it's out. And he's like, she went over the north wall. So I tell them what's going on because these guys are now looking at me like I'm insane. And the one guy says, oh, can I help you look? He's like, I don't want to cut or anything, but can I? And I was like, heck yeah, you can help me look. And so he comes out, and I now have this historical society guy helping me look. And he's literally like taking things off the wall. And I was like, he's not gonna, no, we're not destroying anything. I just, okay. And I just started following behind him. And then David called, and I was talking to him, and he's like tearing apart the top of a display inside of there. And I was like, I don't think it's in there. So then
That's
I
what
finally
you're talking
walked away. And I called him back and I was like, this guy's helped me, but I can't find it. And I'm walking around the outside of the building for like the 15th time. And I told him, I was like, I don't even know. Like,
Yeah.
And I said, it's gotta be. He goes, well, maybe there's something with Mike there, with Big Mike. What if we just look at the cipher? And I was like, the only word I can come up with from there is cell. So it has to be. And so I'm like talking to him, and I said, I don't know. I'm just gonna, I'll just keep looking. And he goes, well, I'm on my way back to the office. And when I get there, I'll start Googling and see what I can find, and I'll look. And I'm like, okay. And I'm walking really slow. And at this point, I was just like defeated. And I look over and I see this lady with her grandson. And I was like, well, that's sweet. They're enjoying the penitentiary. And I'm walking. And I look up, and the first time I finally see there's this hole in the bricks. And right at the gate, yeah.
Right there, that hole.
And I was like, I never noticed that. And I start walking, and I see the light like kind of glint off of it. And I went, wait a minute. And I go walking, I get closer, and I see it, and I reach my hand in, and I just start yelling, I found it! And this lady and her grandson come walking over, and they're like, ooh, what did you find? I was like, $500! And I was like, I probably just scared the crap out of them, or they think I'm insane because this is not $500. But, and the guy comes out from the building, and I'm running past him, and I was like, I found it, thank you. And I just keep going, and I'm trying to call David, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and I'm just running. And then he answers, and I was like, I found it. And he goes, what? I was like, I found it. And he goes, oh, where was it? I was like, it was in the wall. And then I realized I'm running to my car for no reason. And I was like, sorry, I'm running. And now I'm out of breath. But we found it. And he's like, it's about time. And I'm like trying to explain to him where it was, but was so winded that I was like, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. But I did remember to take a picture right next to it so that we would have the picture.
I love you. Yeah.
I was literally freaking out.
It was in this little hole right there.
Yeah.
And you could see where she was. Right there's the bars of her cell.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the entire
Clue came down to.
Yeah.
It said, I
That was
see
crazy.
the bars of Lady
Corey will
Bluebeard.
I have to
definitely
do
be
that
in
now, but
contact with you.
congratulations. Rodney can give you my contact information. Oh.
Yep.
Thanks, Corey.
Surprised we didn't see Corey. On
I
our
know.
troubles
I
and
was shocked. I was
tribulations.
looking for Corey. Like,
So
I
we
thought for sure.
yeah, we
that
knew
there
that
were
if we
people
saw
over there
Corey
looking, too.
somewhere,
yeah,
we were on the right
yeah,
track.
Yeah.
exactly.
Right?
we were
We
on
like
the
it's a
scout
good
for him.
sign.
Yeah.
if I
And I
see
thought for sure then when the clue came out today, I was like, oh, he's going to be there and he's already going to know. And I'm going to be like 3 steps behind him. and we've been so close so many times that I was like, we have to get it. We have to get it this time. But then when I was looking, there were people walking around. I saw a few couples, but there wasn't really anybody who seemed to be like searching.
Yeah.
They just were kind of looking around at
looking at
things, and I
things.
couldn't tell if they were trying to do like me, because
Was it anyone else
this
out
is
there?
what I would do.
don't
I'd
think
be
any-
like
I don't
digging in
think you and
things,
Sarah
and I'd
were.
see somebody coming, and then I'd just like get up and walk around, like I didn't, so that nobody would catch on to the fact
That
that that's
you
what
were
I was
looking?
doing
Yeah.
if somebody else was there looking.
Monday, Corey sent me. I'm clueless. I'm at Slaughterhouse Park, 15th and Hill, which I was like, Slaughterhouse
Yeah.
Park.
Yeah.
that would have been a good one, yeah.
And then he sent me this picture. I don't know where it's from, but I was laughing because all the letters and numbers.
Oh yeah.
In this park.
Oh.
Oh, that would be
Yep.
interesting.
I don't know where you found that picture, Corey, but I was laughing when you sent it to me. Like, he likes to send me pictures of things as he's
That's
hunting.
awesome.
Just to see.
That's
Like,
awesome.
That's
And,
where I just texted
and
him
sometimes
like,
I like,
Oh,
I'm
what's
on to
it?
you, and that's
Sunset
all I said.
Park.
yeah,
Oh,
it's at Sunset.
Park.
Yeah.
Because I put by sunset, someone's gonna find it that
Yeah.
day,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he was thinking he was
Yeah.
on it. When he thinks he's on to something, he sends me a picture.
Nice. Nice.
Well, we found of
And my
lady-
answer is, go get it.
Yeah.
I
You
know
Every
use
time
that,
someone
you
says
use that
something,
every
I
time.
know.
Yeah, exactly.
I said, go get it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, but of Lady, if you just type that in Boise, there was supposed to be another park off of Warm Springs and Highway 21 up there just next to the river. They're supposed to have the 16-acre park. There's supposed to be a statue of the Lady of Idaho. And I was like, oh, there's a big article in the newspaper about it. Then come to find out, there's no park there. They never
And
made it
that was
there.
when we were stuck with Lady and didn't
Yeah.
have anything
Yeah,
else
we were just
because
like,
we were
Lady,
trying
Lady,
to
what is
jump
Lady?
ahead to figure out.
Yeah, we thought there was a sculpture, a lady sculpture somewhere.
Mhm.
We're like searching all the lady sculptures in the entire city.
Yeah.
And then it was just, yeah.
God, that was
Bluebeard is
crazy.
what kind of narrowed it
Mhm,
down.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
figured when Bluebeard came out, that's
Mhm.
when it would be found.
Yeah.
Well, and I trying to figure it out. Your next picture was posted that had the guy with the beard and had all the faces in it. And I
Yeah.
was like, and I read that, and then I saw that and was like, oh, his beard is blue, and I was like, oh, it's Bluebeard, and so then that's when I really believed what it said on Google
Hey,
about
stop.
Bluebeard, because
So what was the
I
last
wasn't
one?
for sure.
No cat fell as hard as Big Mike.
It's Sal. I
So,
had asked him.
yeah,
about that.
no cat
But where
fell
did
as
it
hard
come
as
from?
Big Mike. So in the last one that Corey won, I mean, the last one of 10, that
I was
Corey
like,
Right.
won,
which
Yeah.
one?
Seriously.
when I had put, if you're staring at the train depot, you're in the right spot.
Yeah.
I was going to use that line again, and literally, Big Mike is a train that's parked there. I don't know if you guys
Oh.
during any of this ever went up there, but there's a big locomotive, and the 4 numbers on that spell out sell. It's like
Oh,
9277 or something like that.
Mhm.
And so Big Mike is actually the only one that's not a person. It was actually the train. And I was going to do a clue about he tried to run me over. Like, he was the only one that caught me murdering someone that tried to run me over. That was
Right.
where the clue was going to go with that
Okay.
one.
Mhm.
And so it wasn't actually going to be a person. It was going to be the train.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
to spell out sell so that you had the whole.
Yeah, I had to ask him when I was on the phone with him earlier. I was like, "So was the last one Sal?" Because
She
if
knew,
it's
yeah.
not, I have no idea what else it would have been.
Because we were stumped. We're like, there's no more. We ran out of hunts. I mean, it was 1, 2, 3. We're at the last hunt.
And there's
Yeah.
still
There's
one
still a
more.
cipher
Yeah.
left. We're like, there's
Yeah.
still something. Like, we need that last little
Mhm.
clue.
Well, and then we were trying to figure out, okay, so are we going to have to go back through and there's
Oh, the
something from each
spacing,
one that
yeah.
would make that? Because the spacing on these, it
That
almost
threw me
looks like
off.
that's going to be a
Words,
word.
yeah.
Mhm.
And
But
I knew
it's
if I
not.
didn't put the spacing there, people would get it real quick. Like,
Mm.
they would figure out that it's just letter to word number.
Right.
And so that's the only reason those spaces are there.
Gotcha.
Well,
Was just to make you second guess
Oh,
yourself.
yeah, that took about 4 hours of my life.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thinking that those were each a word
Yeah. We were. I think it was.
when
it
all
was
you
either-
needed was 4.
Yeah, it was either day 1 or day 2, and literally all day it's like, okay, we're gonna spend 2 hours focusing on this, and then we got other stuff to do. And so we would focus our 2 hours, and then we would get in the car, and he would be constantly on his phone, and I'm like, "You're searching for the hunt still, aren't you?" And he's like, "No, not at all, not at all." On his phone the whole time, and then yeah, it was fun. It was
So
nonstop,
did you put in
nonstop
like
6 days.
5-letter words that have these letters? Put in all the
Yeah,
letters.
see this? there's a 3, 4, so there's 3-letter word, 4-letter word.
Yeah.
So here's my thought process at first. The 1-1 down at the bottom, that was the easiest unique. I'm like, okay, 1-1. I went through and I was like, show me all the ones. So I highlighted all the ones. Okay, here's all the letters that 1 correlates with. What can I make a 2-letter word out of? In, of, he, on, no. So then I tried every combination of those throughout the entire cipher with everything else and couldn't find anything.
No, nothing.
None of them. It didn't go one way backwards. I tried frontwards, backwards. Maybe we have to read them backwards, read them frontwards. Nothing. Do we have to go skip every other line and go? I tried 20 different ways.
We got like super creative. We're like, maybe he's like giving us like old T9 keyword text,
Yeah.
and like we're trying to like do the T9, and we're like, does it spell anything?
Yeah, that's what Corey did. Corey, wasn't it you that told me? He said he was trying
Yeah.
phone. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
going
one of
through,
them,
like,
I went
the-
through
the
a
first one
keyboard.
looked like
Yeah.
a phone
The keyboard
number
has
because
one
it was
and all
3
of
and
these
4, and
numbers
I'm like,
and
so I'm
then 2
searching
and all.
phone numbers and doing all sorts of stuff, and it was
Corey
I
did
googled
too,
so
like,
many
yeah.
different
you did.
ciphers.
Oh
You did
yeah.
3-letter words, 4 letters, 7 letters, 6 letters. I was like, okay, that's got to be something. And then I get down to 14,
Yeah, we're like, what words are 14 letters
15-letter
long?
words. I'm
yeah.
on Scrabble trying to.
Yeah.
I'm just looking through 15-letter words of the entire dictionary.
Yeah.
Just scroll through to see if any of them. No, none of these make sense at all. I'm like, there's only so many 15-letter words.
Yeah.
There's like 732 or something.
I had a friend of one of our friends, their daughter was over for me to give her a haircut. And I started asking her, I was like, are you good with numbers? I totally pulled her into it. And I was like,
13.
yeah. And I was like, so what does this mean to you? Does this? And she's like, have you tried looking up this kind of cipher? And she actually gave me some really good
Nice.
ideas, but it wasn't anything that correlated to that. And I was like, dang it. And so then when they came back to pick her up, I was like, so I just got your daughter hooked into trying to help me figure this out. Sorry.
So do you guys online, do you like this idea better where it goes longer, it's much harder? Do you like riddles
Thought
that are
latitude and
done in the
longitude.
weekend?
Oh my gosh,
Oh.
Sarah. So I
Oh,
totally
you
at one
guys did
point
like-
thought maybe it was coordinates
Okay.
also.
I didn't
And-
think of that.
My car has the like GPS where you can plug in the coordinates. So I sat there and like messed with some of them and it was like nothing. But
So I think for me personally, I like the shorter scavenger hunts when we're doing it on a frequent basis. Like
Mhm.
when we have holidays month after month after month,
Yeah.
the shorter ones are good. But doing a long one maybe twice or 3 times a year, I think is awesome.
Yeah.
It's good to
Like
have that
every 6
mixture.
months, like
yeah.
do a hard
And it
one.
breaks it
Yeah,
up a
so
little
it
bit.
does. So
Yeah.
I would say keep the mixture. It's great.
And
But-
it keeps you on your toes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
But
does.
if you're gonna
Because
do
this
it
was
like
totally different
Oh,
than
yeah.
anything that you've done
Yeah.
before. And so we were really happy to work for it.
if you're gonna do one that's like you think is gonna last 5 days, put it out on like Wednesday, so like
Mhm.
people can search on
so
like
the weekend,
Yeah.
the weekend
you're
is
starting
like
to figure it
you have
out
a
on
Saturday, like plan it to like you think they're gonna find it on Saturday, but if they don't, then you have all day Sunday, and that's gonna be the guarantee. Rather than people like us, we're at work trying to like
Yeah.
decode things, and luckily she
Yeah, and
didn't-
unless
she
you have
wasn't working.
somebody like me that can make their schedule and can
Yeah.
have time
Yeah.
off and do things, or like when I have a few days where I don't have anything planned, like today I didn't really have anything, and so I could just go and spend the entire day
Yeah.
looking
Yeah.
and searching and doing whatever. Whereas if we had all been working, it would have been like everybody else. Going,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I hope somebody doesn't get there before I do,
Mhm.
which has been the case a lot of times.
Yeah.
That-
Exactly.
And then I'm like, by the time I work weekends. So by the time I am done with things on the weekend to try and get out and help them look for anything, it's incredibly difficult. But the one thing that we do have is if I can go out and look, they're working on the keyboard and trying to break things down. If they can go out and look, then from where I'm at, I'm trying to come up with whatever I can. And we use like everything, Google Earth,
Yeah.
Google, Wikipedia, like anything you can come up with to find something.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
how we do it. But
That's how-
I don't know how some people manage this without a team.
Right.
Because,
Right.
Yeah.
like, it's a lot.
It's hard
You,
for just
doing it
one
by
person.
yourself
Yeah.
is not,
So like kudos
Easy.
to you, Corey. Like that you
unless you
managed
just
this
dream
to
about it,
this.
like one person we know.
right? Yeah.
So next month you'll notice there's not anything scheduled.
We
Yeah,
saw
I
that,
saw
yeah.
So I'm in a national hunt that
I'm so
starts
excited about that.
the end of this month. It starts on Memorial Weekend. So rather than do a big hunt, I'm going to let anyone that wants to help me with that hunt.
Oh.
And obviously, if I win, they'll get something out of it because I
Yeah.
win a candy factory if I win.
Right?
I
We
saw
heard
that
about
one.
that on
So-
the
It's
was
this-
it the radio?
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
a state one, like every state.
Yeah,
has
and I
its own-
bought I
Yeah.
bought
You
into the
bought into a
Idaho.
few of them,
Okay.
didn't you?
Yeah,
You
I
did
bought
Idaho and
and
Oregon and a
Oregon.
couple others. Yeah.
And so now
And
I
they
get to
all
be in
seem
the
to be
national
at
one.
train things. Like almost everything, all of them were hidden
Or
somewhere near a
armory
train
thing,
or
like something to
military
do with
something.
military.
Yeah.
Civil War, they love the Civil War.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I'm gonna create a little group, and anyone that wants to be involved in that group out of this can be involved, and we'll
Yeah, that'd
all
be
help
cool.
each other.
Nice. Yep. great.
I don't know if it's only gonna last that weekend. They've narrowed it down to 6 states that it's gonna be in.
Oh.
That kind of run from Michigan, Ohio,
Mhm.
down to Texas. So like Texas, Oklahoma, I think Missouri,
Wow.
something, Ohio.
So
and
what
Michigan.
runs along there?
And so
Is
I
there
think
like
they
a
just tried
highway
to.
or something
They
that's running
said
along there?
those because they're in the middle of the country,
Mhm.
so that people could already get an idea.
Well, I have family
of
in
where they
Missouri
need to
and
look.
Kansas and Texas.
See,
So I
Nice.
can help get
boots
people.
on the ground.
Right?
That's all I
Yeah,
need.
exactly.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So, and theirs is riddles. They've not been that hard. Like the Idaho one was found in 45 minutes.
Really?
Most of them were
wow.
found
In
fast.
Wallace,
I didn't know that
Idaho,
quick.
yeah.
Wallace.
Dang.
And that one in Oregon was what,
Yeah,
like 2
I was
hours?
headed to there, like,
Yeah,
and
because
then
you were
it was
right by
found.
the border when it was
Yeah.
found.
Yeah, I was in
Yeah.
Ontario because I
That's
thought it was going to
crazy.
be on this side, and it ended up being on the other side.
Okay.
I drove about 2 hours before someone found it.
Yeah, he
Oh,
told me, he's like, I'm
no.
renting a car and I'm
Oh,
gonna go.
Yeah, I
no.
rented
I'm
the
like,
car,
okay.
the whole shebang. I was ready.
Dang.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, that
but
was
I was
crazy.
not nearly fast enough. I needed some light speed to go get. I knew where it was. I just couldn't get there fast enough.
Right.
So
might
I don't know
be-
if this is going to be
And
that way or
wherever
if
it's
it's going to
at,
be a few
again,
weeks.
if it's somebody who's local, they might be able to find it fairly quickly versus
Yeah.
somebody who's
Yeah.
not. But
Yeah.
Yeah, if we get some
so
family.
do you have a plane ticket still?
No, I have points
So
for
we
plane
talk-
tickets, but
okay.
I don't have a plane ticket over there yet. Because if you fly into the middle, you're still 12 hours
Yeah,
from each
exactly.
end of that.
Right.
That's a
Exactly.
huge. It's 24 hours
Yeah.
from the top to the edge of Texas, and it could be
Yeah.
anywhere. in
Yeah.
there.
Wow.
So even though they've narrowed down to 6 states, that's a
It's
huge
a lot.
Mhm.
piece of ground to cover.
Yeah.
And so I thought about, well, maybe I'll fly in the middle because more than likely my brain tells me to hit it in the middle to try to be fair. You
Right,
know, like that's
right.
what I'm thinking. But I'm not taking that chance. I'm just going to stay there for 2
Yeah.
weeks if
Yeah,
that's what it takes
exactly.
to.
Right.
I'd rather see it.
Right.
And if I need to jump on a plane, if I feel like it's that, then. Or like say, find people. I know a few people in some of those states too that
Okay.
I can be like, maybe one of us will know someone in that area.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
They
Yep.
can go get it.
Mhm.
No, I mean
I'm
we
just
have a
gonna
good
sell
group
it.
of people. I'm sure we all know someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sell it and share money if I win it. So
Nice.
I don't want a candy factory
Right?
in Florida. I'm
Yeah.
not moving to Florida. There's
Yeah.
snakes there. That was the one thing
There's
about
snakes
hiding
here
it
too.
here.
Yeah.
When I hid this one, I was like, if someone reaches in there and gets bit by something,
I was a
Like,
little nervous
Yeah.
about
That's the
Sketchy
whole
to
was
reach your
scary.
hand into something.
I
you
was a
don't
little
know.
more concerned when I was walking up to the old rose garden, the original rose garden, because that's going up
the
by
hill,
the path
yeah,
and the
like,
trails. And so as I was walking up the steps, I was like double stepping and checking
Yeah.
everything as I
Yeah.
was like, I'm not stepping on the
you
snake.
wouldn't have found me
No.
hiding it there, just so you know, because like, nope.
Well, there we go.
Where
If
did
it's
you
anywhere
find-
that there's going to be snakes, it's a
You're
no-go
right,
because he's
yeah.
not going to be there.
The picture of the barn, where was that from?
The first
Drawing,
one,
the drawing of it.
I just happened to run across it. Like all
Really?
these pictures, I just happened to run across
That's
them.
crazy. 'cause
The
it's like
Bluebeard one
identical.
was so freaking amazing.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah.
found that, like, because for like weeks I've just been looking at things.
Well,
that
did you
might
know
add
that-
up
The shape, the front side, the shape was exactly. But if you actually go to the golf course side and look at it from the back, your drawing is identical
to that barn?
to that barn.
It's just crazy.
The windows
See, I
are
didn't know
exactly
that.
the same. The patio, everything is identically the same. I mean, it is a drawing of the backside of that barn.
Mhm.
And I thought, wow, it's got to be here somewhere. But
Mhm.
you can't walk in between the golf course and the barn because there's special birds in there.
Yeah.
I was like,
And Corey was like, the
Bird
lady wants
sanctuary.
people to get off our property.
yeah, she wasn't happy too much.
And I didn't put anything out there
She
about it
wasn't
because I
volunteering
couldn't
to help
then
like the
say.
guy over here. He
Right.
was super helpful.
Yeah, like I couldn't put anything out there to say. And I
He
didn't even go
literally
on her
lifted-
property. I just saw it from the road.
So
Yeah.
when you were over there looking for a place to hide it, and you know how there's the actual house
Yeah.
and then the big wall that's around it.
Yeah.
So there's that house. There's that big metal plate and this dude lifted it up and was like, so that's a crawl space that goes, and I was like, it's not in there. I was like, I'm not,
You're like,
and if it is,
no.
I'm not getting it.
I'm not
Sorry,
winning.
like, we're out if that's it. Because I'm not going down there. But I was like, it won't be anything like that. It'll be somewhere that it should be pretty easy to see, but not somewhere that it will be like, I'm right here hanging out and anybody could grab it. Yeah, but he's like, well, all these light switches, like you can pop the covers off. And I'm like, I don't think I should do that.
Yeah.
No. It'll
Yeah,
never be
that
like
was
that.
crazy.
Be on public ground. You
Yeah.
don't have to pay to go
We,
in.
yeah, we've learned through all of your scavenger hunts. You make it plain sight. We don't have to go in any
Yeah.
gardens or bushes.
Take
or
it
And
in
you
the
won't have to
park,
pay to get
Yeah.
Get in
in.
trouble.
And-
Yeah.
Well, and so from our old hunts that we used to do at the radio station, I kept thinking it won't be on private property. So with the one that was on Boise State, I was like, but that's private property. Like, isn't that? And so then I messaged him and was like, I thought it wouldn't be on private property. And he said, well, as long as it's publicly accessible, like if you can just walk on and not get in trouble, then it can go there. And I was like, oh, well, that opens up a whole lot of places then. 'Cause in my mind, I had automatically shut down, well, that's private property. That's private property.
Yeah.
And so then that opened up a whole world of possibilities.
Well, we took a scooter ride, was it like 3 weeks ago?
Mhm.
And we knew that the big hunt was coming up.
Oh, yeah.
And we actually went through Ann Morrison and we were riding around. And I was like, hey, it hasn't been at this park yet.
Yeah.
This is a huge park
It's
and nothing's been in here
Yeah.
yet. So as we were riding by, we're looking at every
We're looking at all
plaque and
the
every
plaques,
tree.
and we're like, it just might be here, so make a mental note.
Yeah, we took a giant
you-
tour around everywhere there just to like look at
When he
everything.
was like, when he got away from me and he put my numbers up so high that I thought everybody would see. At that point, I had started thinking maybe it wasn't Ann Morrison, and when that came up, I was like, "Oh, that big giant clock."
Oh.
So maybe it is over there. And
Didn't
then
think about
something else
that.
came up, and I was like, "Okay, well, it's not over
Yeah.
there then."
Neighborhood
But that was
watch,
what
I
I
thought, okay, well maybe it's a watch. Maybe all these correlate, are these times?
Which also made me
I was
think
like,
of
okay.
the giant clock,
Yeah.
and then I was like, "Maybe he's leading back over there." No, that's not.
I was trying to get people to go back and watch the videos.
Yeah, I know, and you kept saying,
Yeah.
"What do we always say in the videos?" And
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
watch the video.
It's like we watched them 1,000 times. We don't know still.
That's
Yeah.
why I thought as soon as on the very first one, when I put the robin in the twigs,
Mhm.
I thought people would immediately know, oh, this has something to
Yeah.
do with, because we really talked about that a lot
Yeah.
on the
Mhm.
first one.
Well, and
The
we
Robin
Yeah.
Williams and like,
Yeah.
and we immediately caught on from day one that there was a connection with the day one clue and the corresponding first scavenger hunt, second scavenger hunt, so on. So we knew every day what to expect in the clues, but we could not. We're like, yeah, we get it. It's part of the scavenger one hunt, but what does that have to do with the numbers?
What, Hattie Harris was not in that first
Yeah.
one.
So
T was not in there.
well, in the Grove
11th
Street
and
near
Grove
11th, they were
were
like,
like-
there's nothing there.
someone said, man, I've driven all around 11th
Yeah.
and Grove, and there's
There's
nothing
nothing.
over here.
The
There's
only thing I
nothing.
could think
You
of
hit it
over
well,
there
that's
was
what they
the
told me.
Owyhee Plaza,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
old hotel.
But
I
then
knew that there had been
um,
some murders there, and so I
Grove
thought,
Street
well, maybe
wasn't
that's what it is,
originally
but
Grove
no.
Street. There was on 10th in Grove, there used to be an old train station, but they've now renamed it, I think, Main Street now. So the names of the streets have changed in history. So I was like, maybe it's that one. I don't know.
Well, like the original, you said the original train depot or something was down there too.
Yeah,
so
the
we were
original-
starting to look through that.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
yeah.
So we went
Yeah,
everywhere.
it was crazy. It was-
All right, y'all, do you have
It
any
was a tough
questions
one.
before we go?
I don't
Anybody?
think so. Yeah, Corey and Sarah have been talking to us. But everybody else is
I
just
know, I don't
watching,
know who the
going,
other
"What
day.
the crap?"
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess to recap the
I'm
numbers.
just curious if anybody else had figured out, aside from just going, "Oh, it's at the old pin," after seeing those, like if they had actually put that together and had even gone and gotten all the numbers like we had done. I just was curious if
Yeah.
anybody
I know
had
that-
even gotten to that.
So Daniel Amar, my nephew lives over here.
Mhm.
They went out last night looking at numbers,
Okay.
Mhm,
but they couldn't figure them out.
Oh.
mhm.
Sarah, who lives in the front, does it, and she
Does he have kids?
texted me, no.
No. Okay, because I
But-
saw some people.
They went over to Boise State. They figured that one out, but they couldn't
Oh.
figure the numbers out because they started with the hardest one with the 4 and the 1. So
Mhm.
they couldn't figure anything out.
Right.
So,
Sarah wants
Sarah,
to
yeah,
explain
wants
the
us-
numbers again.
so the first clue was Hattie Harris. I killed with T. There's a date if you actually go to the Hop Garden where the first one
I'll
was.
show you the picture.
Yeah, where the
I can
first
show
one
you the
was
picture
hidden.
of each one. I'm
there
sure
was
you can
actually.
too.
Yeah, I can. I
Yeah,
have
there's
all
a
the
picture of
pictures.
it that says the
She
exact
has
words.
700, so it'll take a
11th
little
and
bit to get
Grove.
through them, but.
Right, for sure.
But the year on that picture was 1891.
So this was the picture. And Sarah, you liked it when Jeff put this picture up.
Yeah, and you said I
And
seen
you
that
said
too.
I saw that too, but the date was right here that you needed for that first line.
So on
to
the
make
first
I
line,
see.
if you go find one, if you put each number above each letter,
Yeah.
You
then
needed that
Year.
1891 right there.
yeah, the 1891. If you follow like the one is right below the letter I. The 8 is S, 9 is E. You have to go find each number with and correlate them together. Hopefully, I don't know if that
Yeah,
comes
see,
in.
you lined yours up, which is
Yeah.
what people should have done,
Mhm.
because I, on purpose, did not let them be lined up, because
Yeah.
I didn't want it to be easy. So Sarah, you had to count, if the first one was 8 in, then you had to count 8 letters in, and that was
Yeah.
the letter that went with that
Yeah.
number. And that's how you had to find, and the only letters of 1891 were only in there once. Every other letter was mixed up in there a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but those 4 numbers were only in there one
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And I was afraid someone might figure that out real quick and then just go through them all and see what
Oh.
ones
Oh,
are.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
didn't think
yeah.
about
Yeah.
we didn't think about that.
Like, I'm surprised you guys didn't once you figured it all out, that you didn't
Yeah.
think,
Well,
well,
we didn't
shit,
really
let's just see
figure
which
out
ones
the
have
numbers
numbers
until
that.
like yesterday.
There's
I
only a
did
few of.
notice when I was looking at it today, looking for a 3
Yeah.
in one of is I think it's the very last one that I was looking for a 3 and I couldn't find a
Yeah.
3 in it, and I was like, how is there no 3 in this? But the one with Big Mike, and I was like, how
So
is
then,
there no
yeah,
3? But
the second day clue was I never used a truck lever on the bridge. That one we had to go to Kleiner Park. There's big statues, and the statue that's inside the labyrinth. It talks about journey
It's right
on the
there.
statue. The 3 statues are called
I
Journey.
don't know.
18.
And then if you actually look on the actual statue,
But these
it
ones,
says
that's
618, 618.
And 1 8.
618,
Yeah, that's hard.
618.
And that
That's really
spells
hard.
inside.
It's right here.
Yeah. Then the third day clue, they begin with 4, let them read the writings on the wall. That was the BSU one. If you stand back and look at all the different banners on that side of the BSU, all the banners there, the banners
Can't read them on
actually,
here, but
the banners spell out 1, 19, 19, and then 3, but if you read the clue, it says begin with 4, so you have to put a 4 in the front of all that. Those numbers spell out the bars. Edwards was the next one. It says Edward was the youngest victim, barely of age. 21 was the number that you had to pick out of that because it was Edward's 21. There was mention of blackjack, the ace and the
Yeah, I found him with the ace and king up his
ace and
sleeve.
king up his
Mhm.
sleeve, and they talked about blackjack in the last one on that hunt. There was an ace and a queen. So we knew 21 was there because you said that. That's what you meant for the ace and the queen.
Mm-hmm.
The next one was and 21 spelled of. I slaughtered him late that year. Was the Quail Hollow, the golf course one. There's a mention of a big red barn. As you drive up to Quail Hollow, there's a big red barn.
Corey is the one that came up with that clue. He should have gotten that one
Oh,
for sure. Because
Yeah.
he did that hunt for me because
Oh.
we didn't want him to win. So he actually, that
Yeah,
was his
so-
hunt.
That's
so
awesome.
the big red barn, on the front of the barn, it actually says built in 1910.
Mhm.
Those letters, that spells out lady. Numbers are like blueberries, harvest them delicately. That was the Julia Davis Park one. And if you actually stood and
Here,
looked at the post,
I don't know if you guys can see that.
one of the posts was about a Chinese garden, and the name was in there as well.
Yeah, it says Louis Gee Garden, and it says the Chinese Gardens, and there's 2 sets of numbers in here.
Yeah.
There's the license plate that's the 90733, and then the date of 1778.
Yep. So all of those together spell I see inside the bars of Lady Bluebeard. And then we didn't get the last one, so we just immediately went up straight to the pen.
I think you guys did amazing. Better than I'd have done if I were on the other side of this.
It was a good hunt. It was fun.
Yeah.
It definitely took us a while.
This was what I saw in by the bathroom.
Okay.
That's
Oh, wow.
totally solidified. It says Idaho's Lady Bluebeard. But
So that was on the tri.
This was in the, on the.
There was a
tri
big
thing in
picture on the
map.
window, like where you
Yeah,
gotta
this
go in
one.
the old pin.
Oh.
There was a big article on,
This one.
yes.
Yeah.
I was gonna post that and then I thought, no, that really gives it away. Like,
Mhm.
Yeah. So honestly, yeah, I'm just glad that we finally won this one. I kid you not, every single hunt, me and Rachel have just been like powering each other up. We're like, we're gonna get it. This is ours. This is ours. And then we would just be like, we were like 2 seconds behind.
Yeah.
We
So
lost.
Edwards, we knew where it was at Edwards, and so I drove out there, and that was when the
oh, in the
snowstorm was.
snowstorm,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
So,
snowstorm was
I drove
insane.
there, and it took longer to get there, and I get there, and I'm on the phone with her, and I'm walking around, and I was like,
And do you see footprints?
I saw
Yes,
footprints
in the fountain.
In the fountain. I'm like, okay,
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
no one's gonna be walking around in this fountain. There was like only one set of
I
footprints.
was like,
I'm
Corey, I'm not going in the fountain. Don't get in
Yeah.
the fountain.
so then I literally looked at the phone, and it said 2 minutes before the picture was posted. I was like, really? 2 minutes
After
ago?
putting yourself in danger,
Yeah.
it was gnarly that morning.
Yes.
So I was like,
Yes.
we knew we were right
That one
there.
was.
That's why I
that one was
changed
rough.
that clue the night before to
I'm
make
glad you
sure
did.
it was found
'cause,
that it was going to
yeah,
be easy
it was
that day.
torturous. I think our
I
normal
didn't want people
commute to
driving all
Edwards
over
would
in
probably
that
be
weather.
like 10-15 minutes max, and it took like
Yeah.
an hour to get there.
And then the next
It was
one at
nasty
the
that
golf
morning.
course.
Yeah,
The
the
golf
golf
course.
We're
course.
literally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
5
walked
feet
up
away.
the same
split,
time.
and
So
I
you
had
all
gone
three
up
were there.
further.
Yeah. And we
Yeah.
we walked at the exact same time, and they just happened to be on the left. So we were like, we don't want to, walk on top of them. So we'll just go over here. And then they found it. We're like, oh,
Yeah.
Too
And
funny.
then the last one in Julia Davis.
Yeah, were
I
you guys
said-
onto that one? Like,
I
were
told
you
her,
in
like,
Julia
it's Julia
Davis? at the
Davis.
time?
Go look. And I called my mom to even go help. I was like, go help search. So she's over searching and had just come into the Rose Garden because she'd been searching over by the Black History
Oh.
Museum and everything, and had just walked into the Rose Garden when he found it.
So we had
And I was like,
we drove
We
around.
were right there again.
And we looked at all around, and we took one way around to go look at the Lincoln statue. So that's the way we took around.
Mhm.
We drove around, and then we went downtown and looked in like different places.
Did you think about his hat when you saw
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, so we thought it was that. So that's kind of the route that we took, and we didn't see anything that matched. Nothing was clicking with the other clues, so we just kind of bailed on that section.
Mhm.
Once it was found, I was like, I want to go look at this place. I want to see what this is because I'm mad that we didn't find it. So we took a different
Mhm.
route and went back by the Rose Gardens and took a different road in. And all of a sudden we see there's a statue with the girl giving
and
the
all
apples,
clicked.
and it was
Yeah.
just like, oh,
So it was like literally if we turned left instead of right,
Instead
we
of
would have
right.
got
yeah,
it.
we would have.
But we
would've
turned
been
right,
right
so
on
we
it.
knew we wanted to go see the Lincoln statue. And we're like, dang it.
Well, the day before, Jeff, the one that posted that picture that I thought he was onto this one,
Uh-huh.
him and his kid, and they know me really well too. Like, I'm driving and I wanted to go check and make sure it was there because I hit it.
Yeah, you said that
It
in
was
the
in a
video that
place
he
that-
looked right at you.
Yeah. It was in a place that was in a little hole in the tree that I knew the next day was Easter and I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Because I thought kids might just be running around here looking for eggs. Because
Yeah.
that's what I did when I was little. Whether or
Right.
not there were any, I was looking anyway.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so when I looked, the leaf that I'd put in to cover most of it had blown out.
Oh.
And it had this bright green ribbon on it. And you could see it from like 30 feet away. Just like in this hole. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I like was looking around for anything to stick in there and finally I found a like stick that would hide it enough to where you had to actually be looking in there to see it.
Mhm.
And then when I left, yeah, he looked both of them looked directly at me and I looked the other way and I turned real quick on that same area that you're talking about. Like I turned and
Yeah.
went over by the lady with the apple and went out that way, like
Yeah.
through the,
Oh, that's funny.
and like
So
literally,
crazy.
Yeah.
I thought I was dead in the water.
Mhm.
And they're like, yeah, we thought it might be there because we saw you. And I'm like, and you left and didn't find it?
Yeah,
Like,
right?
Did you go check on the?
No, that
That's
was
twice,
with
Jeff. I
this
thought you
one.
were on to me.
I was like,
This
I
time
am
didn't.
not leaving until we have it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I refuse to leave here. I had extra water in the car. I knew I had a bathroom. Like I was ready to call my kids and have them come and meet me and start searching around over there. So
Did you check on
I
the?
am not
pen at
leaving
all?
until we get here.
Oh, I went 2 times.
He went
and
this
checked on it.
morning.
I went
Oh.
right
He was
before
there
she
this
got
morning,
there.
right before I got there.
Right
apparently.
before she got there,
Mhm.
I was there. And
Dang.
it's a wonder she didn't see me because if she was there 2 hours, that's about how long it was that I was there. And I like pulled around to where no one could see and like made sure. The other day when I went and checked on it, I thought someone was there I knew, and I was like, it freaked me out, and then it wasn't. But
So that's
Yes,
all we have to do is just
today I
tail
didn't
you.
see it.
Yeah,
just tell me.
exactly.
Just tell
Yeah,
you.
exactly.
Now I have some
Put a tail
people
on you.
now that I'm gonna like send to look at this stuff instead of me.
Nice.
I've definitely learned my lesson. Now.
Mhm.
That's
But-
awesome.
So this is your loot, you guys.
Yay!
So we'll let you
Yeah,
take your
I'll
money home. Thank you guys for watching.
That is so cool.
And I will put something out on Facebook about the Memorial Weekend hunt. And then from there, we'll go into when we're going to do the next one. Because if that
Cool.
hunt takes 2 or 3 weeks, I'll probably totally skip May
In
and
June.
come back
Yeah.
in June.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
So,
Okay.
or skip
in
June
July,
and come back
yeah.
in July.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, all right, guys, thanks for watching.
Thank you.
See you
See
guys.
We'll see you later. Now I got to remember how to turn this off. I do this every
The middle
time.
one, it says industry.
Hi.
Hi.
All right.